Yo, what's up guys? It's Cory, Sandhagen. Hey, so we're gonna add in these long form videos. I think that they're gonna be really helpful for you guys, so make sure that you guys are liking and subscribing because I took a lot of time on them. And like I said, again, I don't really wanna just do like these quick, like, hey, this is how this works, blah, blah, blah. I kinda wanna get into the nitty gritty of how things work for you guys' favorite fighters. So today we're gonna do O'Malley versus Song. This fight's happening next weekend, or I guess it depends on when you're watching the video or whatever. January 24th is when the fight's gonna take place. First Paramount Plus card, which is pretty cool. I'm super excited for the Paramount Plus thing, and I'm super excited for not having to go somewhere and watch the fights, and so that we don't have to, I'm excited about not paying for them, okay? So I could just stay at my house and just watch the fights for free by myself. I don't need to be in a big group because I'm very cheap and don't want to spend money on the pay-per-view. But let's talk about O'Malley first. This is a banger of a fight. I think that it's like, you know, obviously I wanted to fight O'Malley. Everyone else wanted kind of me to fight O'Malley too, but I love the matchup between O'Malley and Song. I think that Song's a really tough opponent for O'Malley. We're gonna kind of get into the parts where I think maybe he might struggle, where O'Malley might struggle. Do I know what the future holds? Not really, but we're gonna talk about their past fights to see just kind of a little bit more of like just me guessing, which is typically what I do. So, O'Malley, let's talk about him first. 31 years old, 5'11", 8-3 record in total, 10-3 in the UFC. I was gonna say 10-2.5 because the Chito fight or whatever. That was it. But sometimes shit happens and you lose and you gotta like take it. So let's talk about Sean O'Malley's first fight in the Contender Series. And the reason that we're going all the way back, guys, is just because a lot of the really good guys, just in general, myself included, we do like kind of the same stuff throughout all of the years, or at least like the things that we do really good, we carry on into the years ahead. We just kind of clean everything up, which is one thing that I wanna highlight when I'm making these videos as well. So this fight in the Contender Series with O'Malley, we see almost immediately this really good long cross that Sean has. When Sean throws this, guys, Sean is really big on not getting close to you. So when he does throw this punch, he pivots and swings his back foot back a lot so that he can switch his stance and create a little bit more space while he could throw something super powerful. Let's head into the gym and watch this so that I can kind of explain it a little bit more in depth. Cool guys, all right, so a few things that we're gonna talk about with O'Malley, but first thing is his most important punch, in my opinion. It's an important punch for anyone that's really long and doesn't wanna deal with getting grabbed all the time. This is probably the most important punch that you can learn, okay? I call it a Tan Lee punch just because Tan Lee smokes dudes with this. He's a training partner, fought and won, was a former featherweight champ, but super good, okay? When I throw my cross, I throw this, let me face this way. I throw this, I dip myself into this leg, into this part of my body. I don't know the terminology of it in S&C, but when I load my leg like this, I'm super powerful with my leg loaded here like this, just like how I'm really powerful if I'm loaded here like this. If I'm like kind of have my weight distributed, I'm balanced, but I'm not mega powerful in either direction. So when I throw my cross, it's not a big giant push off with my back leg like you'll see like a Ilia Topuria when he like jab crosses and makes this big push off the back leg. It's more on my front leg, and when I throw this, I'm sinking my weight into the front at the same time that I throw my punch. The timing can be kind of however you want it. It can be I punch and then slide my leg back. It can be a little bit delayed where I throw and then I throw my weight back. It can be where, again, if I do that facing the camera, I throw, I'm leaving my head over here. Maybe I pull myself out like this if someone's swinging at me. It can be a little bit more right at the same time. It can be maybe a little bit up. It can be tucked. However you do it is gonna be very dependent on the situation. Obviously, if someone's close to me, I wanna point my forehead a little bit more so that if I do get smoked, hopefully it's on the top of my head. Boom, when I punch. With this leg, I push myself or I almost fall backwards a little bit. It's not like a push like this. My weight goes into this leg and I almost like fall and catch myself backwards. Kind of, that's a super exaggerated metaphor there, but when I do this, boom, it's a little push, a little bit of a fall. It's not a big push like this. It's a throw, and a little bit of a fall. If someone's a little bit longer or I'm a little bit further away, sometimes I'll do this with my head completely up and just leave my head behind. If you guys are watching from the side, I'll leave my head behind and drift this leg back instead of, if someone's close, boom, putting my head down and throwing this leg back, okay? That's really important, guys, because, or one of the most important punches, because if I'm wrestling someone and I don't want them shooting good double legs, one of the best times to shoot a good double leg is when someone launches the right hand. I change my level, boom, I shoot in, I score. When I throw this punch, this Tan Li punch, or whatever you want to call it, fadeaway cross is what I sometimes call it, I'm taking this away so that if someone does go to shoot, boom, there's all of this open space for me to have to react, because I've talked about this a number of times, but I kind of shut up about it because you guys were commenting about it, is space is time. If I have this much space in between me and my opponent, I have a lot more reaction time. If I have this much space from my opponent, I don't have as much reaction time. So that's really important. But it's a little bit of a push and a little bit of a falling backwards motion. But the entire purpose of it is to be able to start someone really hard with the right hand where all my weight shoots into my front leg. Boom, at the same time, I'm kind of keeping myself from being taken down, which is really important. All right, and then here, guys, round one, 350. I just wanted to bring this up because this is absolutely hilarious. This is when Snoop Dogg coins the term take the booty position.
You don't want to know.
Take the booty position?
When O'Malley gets taken down. Just wanted to highlight that because it's absolutely hilarious. And this fight happened in 2017, I think. So it's been some years since we've seen the take the booty position, but shout out Snoop for making me laugh super hard when I was making this video. The other thing we'll talk about, guys, is, all right, in round one, we see a lot of step through left crosses too, and then a round kick to follow. He scores a really nasty one in the contender fight with this, throws the left hand. He does this a lot on the left side, not as much on the right side, but a lot on the left side. Throws the left hand, throws the kick right afterwards. He throws a few of them in this fight, but this one connected and this one was really, really nice. It's pretty, like nothing super like mind-blowing about it. If you've been at any like Muay Thai gym or kickboxing gym at all, you've probably learned this one or two times, but let's talk about how it works a little bit more inside the gym and kind of when to do it, the range to do it in, and all of that stuff. Let's talk about it in the gym. The other thing that we're going to talk about is this cross kick, same side, okay? If you train at any gym for any amount of time, you've definitely seen this a few times. Elias, can I use you real quick because it'll be easier? You've definitely seen this a few times. It's not mega like mind-blowing anymore. When you first learn it, you're like, holy shit, I just discovered the holy grail. But now that there's YouTube and now that there's all kinds of stuff, it's not as cool anymore, which is kind of sad. Because when I was learning stuff, I didn't really learn it from YouTube a ton. But especially open stance, okay? Because when we're close stance, you flip, getting over this shoulder with a high kick can be a little bit harder, okay? Like just the angle of things, like he's a box like a little bit tilted like this when he's in this stance. So when I go to kick, it's like kind of hard to get it over when he's like this. If he's open stance, I have like a lot more access to like laying this thing across his face when I go to throw this. But a lot of the time when you throw your left hand, obviously people are taught to slip. He'll slip, boom. If he slips with his hand down, boom, that's like green light. I'm throwing my kick after as hard as I can. Boom, boom, like this, okay? That gym, that team over at O'Malley's definitely does a ton of these. Bautista almost knocked out Umar with one of these also. And he smokes dude, O'Malley smokes dude in this contender fight just with a simple boom, showing this and throwing the left round kick right behind. Let's get kind of technical because fuck it, this video is gonna be super long anyways. When we're doing this, and I throw this, it can be one of two ways. I can throw little pause, gallop and kick. I can throw it more like a 3/4 kick, which goes more upwards, which I'm just gonna launch and snap my kick. Or I'm gonna kind of like Muay Thai it a little bit, lean my head like this as I go, and kind of try to get him to lean himself into it. So there's kind of those 3 ways of doing it when you are doing this kick. But the entire point of it, and again, it works better open stance. The entire point of it is to get them to lean this way. They only have one hand, boom, one hand versus one shin. Not really good odds. Cool, so obviously the fight ends with a KO.
Dinner with biscuits. Oh, man! Oh, man!
O'Malley knocks the dude out, really awesome. Looks super good in his first fight. A little, obviously, compared to now, a lot more chaotic in that fight. But still throwing a lot of similar stuff. Again, we'll talk about how he kind of has evolved in these later fights. But the key takeaways that we can kind of take from this fight that carry on to the way that he is now a little bit is Sean has never really been, or Sean in this fight was never really a big point striker. Everything that he's throwing is trying to take someone's head off, create a highlight reel knockout, and make Snoop Dogg go crazy. So good for him. So being able to do that, that makes him super fun to watch, super dangerous. He still kind of keeps that same mentality, but he does add in these point scores, which is what I call them. And we'll talk about those in his future fights. But what we do see from Sean O'Malley big time that he does still do now is he's still throwing these step crosses. He's still throwing these leaning fadeaway crosses, whatever you want to call them. I call them Tan Lee crosses because again, like I said before, Tan Lee is one of the best at this. He throws lefty round kicks off of that same side kick, boom. And his 1-2s with a big emphasis on the 2. He doesn't really throw his jab to land much. We'll see in his later fights, he does a little bit with his right hand, but with his left hand, it's mostly just find the range, boom, throw the 2 really, really hard. We see all of that in his first fight, and we see definitely a lot of that going on now in his career now. The other thing that we're gonna talk about in this fight is something that O'Malley does really well. It's something that like a lunge puncher is gonna do good. I call them lunge punchers. I literally just made that shit up. It's these types of punchers. I'm kind of one of them too. There's types of punchers like Mike Tyson. He'll throw and connect his body and slip his shoulders afterwards. Pereira does a really good job. Elias does a really good job of not being a lunge puncher. Okay, he'll punch and then come back the same direction. Okay, lunge punchers are almost like they're like fencing kind of, where I'm just trying to get to the target and I'm gonna push off my back leg and try to get there as fast as possible. O'Malley does this really good. I'm spacing on whether it's was from open stance or closed stance. It really doesn't matter though. But when I lunge punch this, I'm not throwing my 1-2 and coming back this direction, which is like kind of fundamental ways of thinking about it. When I lunge punch, I'm throwing my jab. When I go to throw this cross, I'm almost stepping at the same time. Again, same type of movement as this back step, where I put all my weight into the front leg, boom, and I'm just launching off my back foot. It's a little bit of a hard push, but it's not like an Ilia Topuria push. It's more of a, my head is going over my body and I'm launching this in and okay with closing some space. It also keeps you really safe from like angles afterwards too. When I punch Elias here and I lunge punch at him or like dart cross or whatever it is that you want to call it, I throw, boom, I'm here, my head is staying on the outside of his body the whole time. The downside of doing like kind of like Tyson movements or movements that go back is when I 1-2 and I go back this direction, I'm like kind of coming back into his body where he can hit me. Whereas if I lunge punch or leave my head on the outside, there's no opportunity for that because I'm leaving my head already on the outside. It's like a really athletic thing. You kind of got to be a little athletic to do it, but those are the punches. Lunge punch, boom, could be any stance, same stance is fine. Boom, I'm punching, and then he'll usually take some type of angle afterwards. If it's open stance, same idea. I'm gonna lunge punch and then take this angle, but it's because I just leave my head on the one side instead of bringing my head back right in front of him. So let's get back to the video. With Sean O'Malley, he goes on to fight 2 more guys, gets suspended for a tainted supplement, KOs Eddie Wineland, loses in a close one against Chito, and then we will pick up here against Thomas Almeida 4 years after his debut. So at the time, guys, Thomas Almeida was supposed to be a really big prospect. Obviously, it didn't go that way for Almeida, but At the time, Almeida was known for being one of the better strikers in the division. He's way bigger now in this fight too. Obviously you saw with the years that he had off, he definitely added in a lot of muscle. What we'll see in this fight just right off of the bat is that he's added in a lot of point scores, okay? Which are pretty much just things from the outside that you do in order to just make sure that you're being busy. There's a lot to this, this point scoring piece. It keeps your mind in a sane place. Sometimes when you're fighting each other, especially for you guys that are just beginning, it can feel like, okay, I'm standing in front of this guy, what do I do now? I need to hit this guy, boom, and then like you blast something and then you get countered really hard and hopefully you don't get hurt, but that's kind of how really big mistakes happen. When you're point scoring, guys, mentally it feels really good, okay? If I just touch with my jab a little bit, if I just side kick to his lead leg, if I'm just touching with inside low kicks, if I'm stabbing to the body, it just keeps your mind a lot like more sane and just in a better spot in general. What it's also gonna do though, guys, is it's gonna make the judges like view you as a scorer the entire time, so that it doesn't have to always come down to these who hit who hardest and who had the biggest moment. It can become like, okay, this guy had a moment, but I won the entire point scoring round. They're really important to add in. You guys should do that. All right, guys, cool. Let's talk about point scores. All right, these are really important, just like how I talked about, because they keep your mind really active and they're really good for the judges and stuff. I think that you need to figure out how to point score, but let's talk about the types of point scoring that you need to do. Because that's really important. Like, you don't point score with like hooks, right? Like, you point score with jabs, you point score with things that are straight. So when me and Elias are fighting, O'Malley does it with side kicks, boom, and he does it with stabs, boom. Those are two super good options because you're not gonna get smoked while trying to just score little point things because you're holding a line when you throw straight stuff. When I throw hooking stuff, Elias can like come inside of me.
Pause.
Oh no, dude, that's how I had to say it. I'm sorry.
No.
I didn't mean to say it like that. I'm sorry, Sensei. All right, when you throw hooks wide, Elias can punch me more in the face. If I throw kicks wide, I don't take any of his balance. There's nothing in between us. He can eat this thing, boom, and then punch me. If I throw straight at his knee, like, he doesn't get to punch me afterwards. It keeps me at distance, which is what O'Malley is super good at doing. He does it with a side kick. When you guys are doing this, don't be weird about this. Like, you can try to like fucking, if you got like some rage in you, dude, like it can be okay to be like, "Ah!" and like try to go for that really hard. I wouldn't recommend doing that. You're probably not gonna blow someone's knee out like this. Roundtree did. Roundtree's like this big, dude. If you're my size, like maybe you will, like cool. Is it worth like maybe getting smoked in the face? For me personally, no. But if I'm here like this and I'm just trying to like make it so that I want to attack without this dude having any ability to hit me at all, I'm just gonna pop this. Boom. I can take my left foot and drive it tiny. I don't do a big step, boom. I don't like that. I'll do a tiny one. And if I'm gonna err in any direction, I'm gonna err on the direction backwards. I'm not gonna err on the direction inwards, because if he pulls his leg or does anything and I stomp down, not good. If I err in my direction backwards, if I miss, really not that big of a deal. I just set myself back. But again, that's a good option because he doesn't get to like throw at me significantly after that. O'Malley also stabs to the body. Same type of philosophy behind this. When I stab to the body, I'm keeping a ton of range, one, but I'm making it so that as I go to throw an attack, he doesn't get to attack me at the same time. If I round kick, he can't. Boom, because things are going round, and we've talked about what happens when you go round. People are gonna come inside you, dude. It's true, dude, they are. So don't go around. When we go with the left leg, I hope YouTube lets us say that. I don't know, we'll see. Same thing with the left leg, okay? When I go around, he can go on the inside. So I keep things straight, boom, say he doesn't get to go at the same time as me. He has to go after me, which gives me a lot more time. So those are the point scoring. That's my spiel on point scoring. You have to know how to do that. If it's your jab, use your jab, that's fine. If you're not O'Malley and you wanna use some other stuff, use your jab, but don't like hook to point score. I don't like low kick to point score. like I'll throw these to point score, but I'm not gonna go throw here. I don't do anything where Elias can punch at the same time as me and hit me. If I want it to be a jab, cool. If I want it to be like a lead teep, cool. Whatever it is, it has to be straight and it has to keep you long. In this fight against Almeida, we'll see. He adds in a lot of side kicks to the lead leg, and he adds in a lot of stabs, just, you know, teeps, whatever you want to call them. I call them stabs because that's what they feel like when you get hit with them. But really good. I think that it was really important that he added those in, and definitely 4 years after his debut, he did. So I would definitely recommend that to you guys as well, for you guys that are trying to learn and trying to be fighters too. We'll also see guys here in round one, obviously. He's still throwing a lot of that lefty, same side cross kick. He does that a lot. He keeps that a lot too. He has a really good left round kick. We also see that he's added in a lot of feints. So not only is he point scoring, but he's also adding in a ton of feints, which again, it just keeps your mind in a good place. If you're just standing there staring at the guy, it gets a little bit awkward and weird in your brain. If you're feinting, it always gives you something to do instead of always thinking about what the other person is doing. So Sean adds those in. So he's definitely made some really big improvements by this time. He definitely took really big advantage of his time off here. The reason that I wanted to talk about this Almeida fight is because Song and Almeida kind of have more or less similar styles. They're really closely built together. Song is a very stationary guy. We'll do a whole section on Song, don't worry. But Song is a really stationary guy, doesn't use a ton of footwork, has a good bounce in his step, more than Almeida, but obviously Song is a lot better than Almeida as well. But I think that this is a really good fight to see just what was working against a really stationary guy if you are going to be a big time mover like O'Malley is. And I think that this fight really highlights that. The key takeaways from this fight, he added in point scoring. He's side kicking and stabbing to the body. Those are both straight things too, which we talked about in the gym, but very important that they're straight. He's added a lot more feints, and he's way more on balance than he was in his contender fight. Obviously, he's a lot more comfortable at this point, having had a few fights in the UFC. He still does a lot of his similar techniques, that cross kick, that step back cross, the 1-2 with a big emphasis on the 2, and this was 4 years ago. So, you know, he's definitely, his contender fight was 4 years till the Almeida fight, and now it's 4 years until now. So, you know, big improvements can be made in that short amount of time, which is cool. The next fight that we're going to talk about, the O'Malley versus Yan. This one is obviously really, really important. Took place in 2022, 4 years ago from now. At the time, we were all shocked that Yan even took this fight, just because I think O'Malley was ranked number 11 and Yan was ranked maybe number 1 or 2 at the time. So everyone was kind of like, what is Yan doing taking this fight? But we were all super excited about it at the time. In the actual fight, you see Yan is marching him back and staying in a tight guard. He has good backwards footwork, similar to how Song might fight, where he's going to try to, you know, march him down, get O'Malley moving backwards. Obviously, that's a no-brainer. Of course, he's probably going to try to do that, just being the shorter guy. O'Malley handles it super well. He's still throwing a lot of long stabs. He's taking a lot of angles and throwing really crisp 1-2s. When he jabs, it's usually in his lefty stance with his right hand. This is easier to do when you're a righty fighter. If I fight in my righty stance, my dominant hand is in the back. When I switch and go lefty, I have a little bit more coordination with my lead hand. It's a little bit easier to jab in a little bit more coordinated way, where you're not leaning over yourself or being silly and doing silly stuff like that. In round one, let's talk about this. O'Malley lands a really long open stance cross, which we are going to talk about because this will be something that Song will have to deal with big time. He gets taken down, and once he's done messing around with a couple submission threats, he gets up really well. In my opinion, he needs to stop messing around. Like, for whatever reason, he gets to guard before he starts doing stuff. I don't know why. When he does build up, it looks really labored, but when he does decide to actually get up, he usually gets up really well. So in round two, guys, the beginning, he throws that really long overhand from lefty and steps through. Catches Yan with this. It's really nice. In round two, we start to see O'Malley like really open up here. This is a really, really good showing from O'Malley in round two versus round one. He did awesome in this round. his striking is super amazing, as you can see. Round 2, the beginning, Jan lands his own lefty stance overhand and wipes O'Malley with it, which is sweet. So good for him. Closed stance punches are easier to close ground with versus open stance. We're gonna talk about this in the gym. Let's just knock that out really quick. Another thing for O'Malley, guys, is we'll get into this when we talk about Song, but with the O'Malley piece, Song is okay with like eating things up the front. Like he's kind of okay with just taking one on the face as long as it's not like crazy stupid hard. Sean throws this really long backhand. Sometimes, like we just talked about, sometimes he'll step and like switch, like he'll boom, do whatever, but then be over here like this, those kind of lunging punches. Or he'll like plant and keep himself really long like this, which I think is gonna give Song a ton of trouble when they're open stance. Sean will still throw his right jab like this. I talk about that in the video. I forget which part because this is a super long video, but when you're righty, you have a little bit more dexterity in the right hand. So I can like kind of just be more coordinated with this without my weight like shifting too much and giving my opponent a chance to score on me. But with the backhand, boom, Sean stays really long and he smokes right down the middle, boom. And he can get his head on the outside, continue his movement and be all good there. So O'Malley will definitely do that really good. Let's talk about quickly too, because this happens in the Jan fight also. Same stance. Okay. Both of these crosses are dangerous, whether we're closed stance, which is we're both righty-righty, or open stance, okay? These ones that are closed stances, in my opinion, are way harder, okay? Because I can get over his head and I can get myself closer to him when we're in closed stance. When we're closed stance, it feels like when we're this far away, like if my head is here, it feels like we're pretty close. Like we are in fight range right here. If I leave my head kind of exactly where it is, but I switch my feet, this doesn't feel as dangerous to me. It feels like we could fight, but it feels like I have like a really big opening over here. Opposed to here, I don't feel like the walls start to cave in a little bit, but it makes it so that you can really smoke someone with your overhand here, which is what Jan did to O'Malley, but O'Malley did an awesome job. I forget if it was closed or open. We'll talk about both. But when I go to throw this punch, okay, I step, bang, and then when O'Malley punches, he'll punch super long. Like I feel like I've heard Tim say it in the corner before too, like punch a little past his ear. It might have even been in the Jan fight, but he'll punch like super long. So even if Jan does lean and still have his kind of high guard up, like O'Malley can still smoke like past that if you're punching a little bit behind the ear, which is a good idea for guys that exit like Jan like this. So when I'm doing that, I step big, I expect him to take off a little bit, boom, and I smoke him over the top. Happened to him shortly after that, but that's close stance. Open stance, when we're here, is I'm gonna take a big step with my right foot, same type of deal, gets me really close, but I need to step this when I go to throw, or else I'm gonna be punching like this, which will still be hard, but then you're gonna have no directions to go afterwards, so you might get your ass whooped then. But I step, boom, I step here, bang, and I'm in a good stance. I'm on the outside of him. I can still hit people really hard, but if Elias is leaving when I throw this, I don't feel like I can hit him as hard like this, still hard, as this. The other one is just way longer because we're already, just by the nature of the way that we're standing, a lot closer, which is important. Round 3, we see O'Malley lands his second cleanest shot of the fight, which is the knee, okay? This is what he was missing a lot as a fighter, if you ask me, okay? Sean O'Malley's stance is built to bounce around. When you're built to bounce around, throwing things upward can be a little bit difficult unless it's a knee, okay? So we don't see a lot of uppercuts from O'Malley. That's something that when I was watching all of his fights, we really don't see a ton of uppercuts. We see feints and going overhands, like how he knocked Eddie Wineland out, or at least smoked him with one of those. But we don't really see a lot of that. We're gonna talk about this in the gym because this is really important. Okay, another thing with O'Malley, guys, when you have this bouncy stance, just how hard it is to kind of throw things out a little bit more upwards, okay? If I have this type of style like how O'Malley does, where he'll kind of be here like this, And I'm gonna fight a little taller. He still fights with his forehead down, but it's not like a rooted down. Like he doesn't fight like with his legs connected to the floor like how a boxer would. He fights a little bit more high like this here. Even though his forehead's pointed, it's much straighter with his legs. When you're like this, it's really hard to feel like you're doing something significant when you throw upward stuff, okay? So you still can, like don't get me wrong, the puzzle piece just doesn't fit as good together as if I'm low to the floor. Like me punching up feels a lot better when I'm here versus when I'm here. Like it just feels less safe. Here I feel really safe punching up. Here I don't feel as safe. I feel like something can come over top. So being a mover like how he is, boom, where he'll do like a lot of switching and stuff, it's really built really good for long stuff, boom, but it's not built great for like really nasty uppercuts and stuff. You can, like I said, but it's not built great for it. When I'm also moving and I'm being this guy, like kicks come really smooth, knees can come really smooth, which he does a little bit. But the up stuff is kind of difficult to do when you have this kind of like bouncy, march me down just a hair. I know we gotta stay in the video, but when I'm being like this, especially when I get here, like throwing uppercuts can just feel a little awkward. And he's gonna be able, or he's gonna wanna be able to do that against a guy like Song that has his guard really good and Song keeps his forehead down like this. He'll land his straight stuff, but it's gonna be a lot on his forehead and we'll see how okay with that he is. Or if he really wants to like smoke him, it's probably gonna be on a good uppercut or a good knee or something like that.
Cool guys, so the main takeaways from this fight, for me anyways, were O'Malley does not lose in space. Like this dude, if you're gonna fight O'Malley in space, he's going to dog walk you a little bit. He's gonna land good shots, he's gonna move, he's gonna circle. The times where O'Malley got hurt are the times when he got a little bit too excited, rushed in, tried to get a finish, tried to put on that highlight, knockout that he really wants to get, and Jan punished him for it. So when he doesn't do those things and when he doesn't get taken down, he wins every single fight that I've watched from the outside. Merab in the second fight is actually the best that probably anyone's ever done in the striking world with him without shooting a bunch of shots, but then obviously Merab would shoot, so that was kind of on the back of O'Malley's mind, which we'll talk about in a second. But the key takeaways from the Jan fight is without O'Malley getting taken down, I mean, he won the fight anyways, but he wins by a really big margin. Obviously, you have to not get taken down. That's really important because that's part of winning. But O'Malley does a super sick job of just staying on the outside, and this dude does not lose from the outside, usually. But it was a mega close fight. I honestly did have it scored for O'Malley. You can hate me for saying that, but even at the time, I had it scored for O'Malley. O'Malley's most recent fight, we have O'Malley versus Merab 2, okay? In this fight, O'Malley went hard with the footwork, okay? He went kind of hard in the beginning, but he went super hard in this one just because you can tell that he's just really not trying to get grabbed at all by Merab. The first fight obviously didn't go that great, but obviously he just really does not want to be grabbed in this fight. You guys will see here. O'Malley is winning until that second takedown in round 1. Merab beats him up, and O'Malley, again, guys, he kind of stays in his guard. He shoves away a lot with his legs. We're going to talk about this in the gym here in a second, but when you shove away with your legs, that is like you are using so much energy on your legs, especially if the game plan is to stand up and move a ton again. Shoving away with the legs is going to be a tough ask. So let's talk about a little bit of a better way to do that. And then again, why it's just like, it's like an okay idea, but for 5-round fights, not the best in my opinion. Don't get in a habit of making this your way of standing up. Half guard, let's face this way. Don't make this stand up like how Merab does, kind of low and crowded, yeah. Don't make this into the way that you try to get yourself up. This is like, you're gonna try to shove people away, and that's okay, but against someone that's really trying to hurt you, like me shoving Elias away, if he stays low, he's gonna beat me here. And this is just a ton of energy on my legs, put weight into my legs. Like doing stuff like this, I'm flexed out here. Like this is not great. Eventually Sean will go from here to like folding to here to building himself up like this. I don't know why he doesn't do it just like off of the rip, but when you are trying to get yourself up or you are on the ground on your back like this, I never have anyone ever, guard half, it doesn't matter, just press into me. It does not, like, I don't like the feeling of always having to like be like this. Like this is not great. Like my get-ups like this are not super like great. I don't love it. If I'm like this, I'm just gonna keep everything closed, get myself here. If I'm like this, he can lock his hands, which sucks. But when I'm like this, it doesn't matter how much he presses into me. It like really doesn't matter. Like we're super strong, like being little monkeys like this. Boom, for me to get myself up here like this, okay? That's the last thing with O'Malley.
Round 2, he tries to press, but it's really hard unless you're willing to wrestle, so he starts moving backwards again, pretty close to right after the beginning of the round. When you're fighting in MMA, if you're not willing to grapple and grab someone, pressing forward is extremely hard. I say this all the time to the guys. Imagine, like you have to know how to wrestle and you have to know how to grapple. If someone isn't a dummy and you lock them in a cage that's 30 feet across and they just have to get to you at some point in 25 minutes, they're definitely going to. So if you can't wrestle and defend some of those shots or get up when they do defend you, like you're dead in the water. That doesn't mean that moving backwards is a bad idea by any means, but when you're thinking strategy, like you can't just put all of your eggs in the basket of being able to move a ton. You have to actually be like, okay, when this guy grabs me, we're gonna wrestle. And I'm not gonna use a ton of energy in order to avoid that to a certain extent, which is, it seems like what O'Malley's game plan really was. I mean, you see in round 3 here that O'Malley is super tired because at the end of that round 2, we see that Merab is just pressing him. O'Malley's having to move a ton. The way that he's trying to get up is by shoving with his legs. It just gasses your legs even more. And by round 3, we see that O'Malley is pretty much completely tired. He's just playing in the guard and then eventually gets choked. But the big takeaways from this fight. Sean didn't start losing bad until he ran out of energy. The first round was really close. He just got taken down at the end, which probably bagged it for Merab. The way that O'Malley tries to get up is kind of not the best for energy-wise or time-wise. You have to think about the time like its own version of points a little bit, where someone holds you down for 1 minute. Even if they don't score anything, the judges are going to probably score that minute pretty heavily towards the other guy. In my opinion, as they kind of should. There definitely needs to be action, but there's a fine line, man. It's like, it's a sport. When we talk about Song, I'm not really sure. I wasn't really sure before I started doing these, this like really in-depth breakdown of how much of a takedown threat Song was gonna be. I do think he's gonna be a really significant takedown threat. We'll talk about it when we get to Song, especially in Song's later fights. But if Song wants to fight from the outside, make it a kickboxing fight, he's probably going to lose. Again, O'Malley does not lose from the outside. Like, I have watched so many of these fights. If he loses, it's only for a few moments and then he gets it right back. He is so slick when he's on the outside. He will not lose from there. If Song chooses to fight that way, I definitely foresee it not going super great for Song. At the same time, I think that if O'Malley can figure out a way to throw things up the middle, like knees and uppercuts, those things are gonna work really well against Song. But because, like what we talked about before, when you're being bouncy guy, moving a lot, that can be really, really difficult to throw things up, because when you dart your weight, we've already talked about it, I don't need to repeat myself. So that pretty much wraps up O'Malley, guys. Like I said, he does a lot of the same techniques in the past that he does now. They're just a lot cleaner. He's added in a lot of point striking and a ton of feints to a lot of his fights. He still kind of has the issue of just letting people milk minutes when he's on his back, but then eventually he does get up, even though it does look a little bit labored. Still, he does make his way up. And yeah, O'Malley does,
he's a phenomenal fighter. It's going to be a super tough fight for Yadong. Let's talk about Yadong now, and make sure that you guys are liking, subscribing, and commenting, because like I said, these kind of take some time. So if you guys don't like these, I'm not going to do them. So if you do like them, please like and comment and subscribe, or whatever I'm supposed to say as a YouTuber. Cool. Let's talk about Yadong. I'm going to call him Song because saying Yadong feels weird. Song is 28 years old, 5'7", 22-8 record. A lot of those were outside of the UFC though. He's 11-3 inside the UFC, 9 KOs, 3 subs, and 10 decisions. Half of his fights go to the judges in the UFC, which is something to think about, because when you think about a guy like Song fighting a guy like O'Malley, Song is not as slick, but Song is way more powerful. But if we're talking only half of his fights have gone to a decision, you kind of have to start to question. It's like, okay, this guy isn't really the knockout monster that maybe the interweb is trying to make him sound like. He definitely has some ability to hurt people like me, which we'll talk about here in a couple fights, but KO, like starch guys, put them out. Only a few of his fights like that in the UFC. Half of them go to decision, which is important. Dude made his debut when he was 19, which is crazy. But also, I did some journalist work here, and there's a little plot twist. When I pulled up his one fight, it had it listed at 2014, and it had him listed at 20 years old. And if he was born in 1997, like it says that he was, that would make him 17. So who knows actually the real age of Song. Song might actually just be some old ancient Chinese warrior that has been alive for millennia, and maybe he's just been lying about his weight and or his age, and he's really, who knows, 800 years old or something. But anyways, someone should look into that. Fool might be like, he might be 19 now, we don't know. But anyways, all right. I just pulled up this fight just because I think it's interesting, and it was fun to kind of watch Song fight in 2014. It's his fight in 1FC 24. I thought it'd be fun. We'll talk about a little bit of this stuff, but we'll just kind of wrap it our way through it. In round 1, he gets dropped really bad, so obviously, like almost immediately. So obviously, the Iron Chin took some forging, but the sucker can take a shot now, I'll tell you that. Also in round 1, he gets super tired, which is totally expected by a 17-year-old kid. You just don't have like man strength yet, and a lot of MMA is having man strength and just being strong, because you get a lot less tired when you're more strong. I would highly recommend that. Just on like a side note, before I took weightlifting really serious, I actually got way more tired than when I started taking weightlifting really serious, which is kind of the opposite of what they say. They say the more muscle that you have, the more energy you're going to use or whatever, and I'm sure that there's like a golden area in between there, but if you're skinny and 17 years old, you should lift weights because you'll be a lot less tired. We see here, which is something that we're going to talk about big time, in round 1, about 3.5 minutes in, he throws this killer elbow, which really highlights his just ability to be super sudden, which I think is Song's best athletic trait, is his ability to go from being relaxed, looking like he's not ready, to connecting his feet into the floor and driving in really hard, which we'll talk about in the gym in a second when we talk about some of these other fights, and we kind of break down his style in general. But I thought it'd be fun just to go through one of his really old fights, because it was just fun. This was like probably 17 years old in this, and it's hilarious. But the Song versus Chito fight, this is an important one. This happened in 2020, so this is 6 years ago now. Closest fight to now I could find on YouTube. Okay, all of the ones before I couldn't really find any, but they had this one. It was a controversial win. He absolutely won, in my opinion. When I rewatched it, I was like, that's kind of crazy that that was even controversial. I think that he won, maybe not by like a huge margin, but by enough, you know, for it to not be super controversial. But what the hell do I know? I've lost some really close split decisions that I thought I won too. But the first minute of the fight, we see his super springy style. He goes from bouncing to settling really, really well here in the first minute. He has a lot of feints and a lot of bouncy from outside until he decides to go, and then he sets. That's really smart for an athlete like that guy. keeps him mobile while he needs to, and then when he needs to be powerful, he needs to be powerful. Let's talk about this style in the gym quickly, and then we'll come right back. Okay, so Song's style kind of in like a circle, just the type of athlete that he is. He's a really springy guy. He like does these types of steps really well. He does a really good job of being really relaxed. If you're tense, it's really hard to be like super springy in multiple directions. You can pull like one way, but then like moving other ones can be a little bit like just too taxing. When I'm here like this and I'm like springy and moving myself in all kinds of directions, it's a little easier if I'm loose, not like a noodle, but like kind of loose, okay? Song does a good job with this. He keeps himself really springy, boom, and then when he's ready, he'll connect to the floor and throw hard punches. That's a phenomenal thing to be able to do. To be relaxed, boom, and then when I'm ready, I sink into the floor, I root myself, and then I throw hard punches. That's how Song does that really, really well. Just wanted to go over that really quickly because it's super important, is being a type of athlete where you could be loose and then slam your feet into the floor and be super strong there.
Cool. Also, guys, at round one, about 3 minutes in, we see Song does this super well too. Anytime someone throws a kick, he takes advantage of it by them being out of position, and he usually tries to smoke them. This is actually worth talking about big time in the gym, so we're gonna talk about this again. So let's head back.
Another thing that Song does really well is anytime someone kicks him with something that isn't like what we talked about, a straight, boom, or a stab, or some type of thing that keeps him away, whether it's a side kick to the body, whatever, he does a really good job attacking immediately, which is what you should do too, okay? I have like a whole position spiel. One of them is anytime anyone leaves position to throw an attack, they're out of position. If I throw my jab, I'm a little bit out of position right now. Like my weight isn't perfect like how I want it. If I throw my right overhand, I'm a little bit out of position. Elias can attack me in this slow motion time that I'm bringing myself back. Same thing when I kick. If I go to kick Elias's leg, he doesn't need to wait for me to do anything for him to attack. I kick here, boom, he could rush me, throw punches here. When you're fighting someone that can like bounce like Song and then root really good to the floor when he's ready to and he wants to, it's definitely a really good idea to, when we're moving, to throw things again that he doesn't get to go at the same time as. So if I throw a low kick, boom, Song is super good at like boom, hitting immediately. If you low kick me, he'll move, boom. I don't need to wait for Elias there. If he throws a round kick at me, boom, I don't need to wait for Elias there. I could just immediately run him over the second I see him leave position, which is really, really key in understanding position. If I throw an attack, I'm leaving my position. Obviously it's worth it because I have to hit the person. But if I leave, boom, I need to either snap myself back or throw things where they don't get to attack at the same time, because Song will make you pay for it.
The rest of round one, you know, we have kind of here at the 2 minute mark-ish that Song moves backwards a lot with his hands really, really loose. I don't know, especially when he goes and circles off to his right side, he dips and brings this right hand down big time. I don't know if it's gonna be, he doesn't do it as much anymore, to be honest, but it is definitely one of his habits that he gets really relaxed when he's moving backwards with his hands. I think that that's a little bit by design because like we just talked about, Song does really good being really loose with his hands, connecting, getting tense, and then throwing. If you get really tense like this, it can sometimes just be like a little bit energy zapping, but then it also can be like a little bit where you just like can't explode as quickly. When you're nice and loose and relaxed, your reactions are a little bit faster. So I think it's a little bit by design, but it could be a problem when he fights O'Malley. Here we see in round two, he's obviously super comfortable exchanging with his eyes open. He does a really, really good job inside the pocket. We see this in the Yan fight, which we're also gonna talk about, but geez, Song does an amazing job of staying in the pocket with his eyes open. The takeaways from this fight, guys, with this Chito fight is obviously he's really sudden, but the low hands could be a big issue, especially when he's backing up. But the biggest thing is that Song is fighting really similarly to how O'Malley fights, where he wants to move. When he wants to move, he wants to be bouncy, and then he connects to the floor and throws punches when people make mistakes. Song versus Sandhagen, that's me. 5-round fight.
closest style and size that we'll see as O'Malley. Me and O'Malley definitely have very different styles in what you'd probably scout us for. But as far as build goes and as far as like footwork and stuff goes and the range and stuff, this is about as close as you can get to a fight is going to be me and O'Malley. So let's talk about it. Here in round one, you see I am a dummy. I get too close and Song sets fire. He sets his feet and fires super, super quick. This is what Song does the best, is he waits for his moment and then he fires. In a 3-round fight against O'Malley, he's going to have to create moments, in my opinion. I think that I'm a lot more willing to get close to someone than O'Malley is. I shot on Song a ton of times. Part of that was by design. All of that was by design because I knew that Song's a freak athlete, but I also know if I can like get in his head and think that I'm gonna shoot, or I could tire him out by having to defend a bunch of shots, I'll win in the later rounds, which is perfect because it's actually exactly what happened. But if you mess up against Song, he's gonna make you pay for it. Like, that's pretty much what it feels like he's waiting for. But I do see kind of a hole in his game where he doesn't create moments very well, but he capitalizes on people's mistakes very well. I see this as good versus great. I think that the great guys can make things happen and the good guys punish bad decisions. And in this fight, we kind of see that a lot with Song. It's kind of my one thing for Song. I know it's because he's a little bit shorter and stuff like that, where it's harder to control the fight, but I do think that he needs to add that, not only just from our fight, but just from all of the other fights that I've watched of Song. So we also see in round one, about a minute in, he's really good at exploding. But like you can see in this last minute, he doesn't do a ton of blitzing with big punches. If you're gonna be shorter, you kind of have to blitz in and throw more than 1 or 2 things. Song does do this really good kind of leaping left hook, which I have listed on here too, but outside that, he doesn't move with like a 1-1-2 and then a hook and then a reload and then a cross hook. He doesn't blitz people like that. He's more so waiting for you to mess up, or he's going to just throw like a leaping left hook or a big overhand and then not much else comes after that, which I think is going to be a major, major problem when he's fighting O'Malley. At the same time though, he did smoke me with a couple of them, so O'Malley better not make any mistakes because that fool does hit super hard, I will say that. In the beginning of round 2 here, we see he's trying to press but has a problem with tracking guys down. He does okay with this, but like I said, his footwork in is very explosive. It's not a bunch of steps over and over again. Here we see he leaps in, but then that's the end of his combo. It's super explosive, but that's kind of the end of it, and you're gonna probably need a little bit more than that, especially when you're fighting longer guys. You're gonna need more than just one big hook in. Even against shorter guys, you're gonna need more than just one big hook in. Something to note here though too in round 2 that we see is that Song's guard is super good, which is why I decided to elbow. I think elbows are really good against guys that keep their hands really close to their face. It's definitely a good idea if you're the longer guy, because when guys get underneath you and their heads are here, you don't get to throw any more punches. You have to start throwing elbows like this. That's what I did with Song. It paid off really well. O'Malley does not throw many elbows. I don't think that I've seen him ever throw any elbows, so I don't know if that will be in his game plan, because I've heard him talk about after he fought against Jan how difficult it was to feel like he was scoring anything significant because Jan keeps his chin way down and he gets punched on the forehead a lot. You start smoking elbows at someone's forehead, they're not gonna like that too much, and it's gonna make you feel like you're doing some pretty significant stuff. The biggest takeaways from this fight with me and Song: high tight guard, he's always used that. Super sudden with his attacks still. Had success in his counters, but he has a problem blitzing guys. He has a problem creating things on his own. And I just like don't really see that for that working great against O'Malley. Like I said, I'm way more willing to get close to someone than O'Malley is. I don't know, but it'll be on O'Malley. Like, will he elbow? Will he get as close as I did? Will O'Malley move backwards with his hands down as much? I don't really know. So those are the takeaways from me and his fight. The Jan versus Song fight. This one's important. This was a banger of a fight. You guys are gonna hate me for this, but I think that Song almost won this fight. It was like mega close. If Song would have won that fight, I don't think I would have been too upset about the judges' scorecards. But we see here in the opening 10 seconds,
Jan throws a kick and Song counters immediately, like we've talked about already. This is what he does super good. O'Malley throws some straight stuff and stab kicks, which are harder to counter, but this is what Song does super good. Okay, back to round one. All right, Song throws that leaping hook and then doesn't throw much afterwards. This is what I was talking about before. We see a little bit later, Song is feinting at the legs. My guess is that he's gonna do this a lot against O'Malley, get O'Malley thinking about the legs. Even here, you see a single overhand, and then when Jan comes in, he throws that tight left hook. His left hook is amazing. It's really good. I just don't know how well it's gonna work against O'Malley, just because O'Malley doesn't really give that opening. Round one, we also see he gets a takedown off of the low kick, and then Jan immediately starts to build up. He switches to a single. This is a 6 series. Let's talk about this in the gym because this is really important to just kind of know what's going on. And it goes to show just how high level of a grappler Song is.
All right, so I want to talk about this entire wrestling exchange. So Jan throws a low kick or something, Song smokes him, boom, he gets taken down. I'll have you follow like there, boom, okay. Jan does a good job of getting to turtle like we talked about, like you need to be able to do that quicker. If Jan starts shoving me and stuff, it's just not gonna like be good for him. So he'll get to turtle, boom, when he turns, okay? Song does a really good job of getting behind him. I think he even controls the arm for a little bit. So Song definitely knows how to like control hands. He doesn't really leg ride a lot, but he'll control hands, do stuff like this. When Jan does build out of this, because when I am here, if he just straightens his arm and just be's really strong, he could probably strip that off. But when Song gets behind him, he locks with an S grip, okay? This is super important. He gets behind him and he locks with an S grip. This is a huge pain in the ass to try to peel. Here it's a lot easier. Stand up real quick, lock your hands. When he's like this, I can get on his fingers and peel these suckers off. When he's in an S grip, there's a lot less fingers. I have to start pushing down and then like pinching, or I have to start like getting my hips in like this. Whereas the other grip, I can keep my base low. I can just start to get on his fingers. So, but he can't really like hurt me because he can't like lock crazy tight with an S grip. In order, like lock as tight as you can. Okay, not very tight. Do this one, do this one. Okay, this one is a little bit scary because he could pinch with his elbows, he could step off to the side and he could start to think like lift and return me. Go for it. Don't return me though. Just fucking, yeah, okay, that type of movement. But it makes it really easy for me to peel this. When he's S grip, super hard. Like he's not gonna probably knock me over and stuff, but it's gonna be pretty annoying because he's gonna be glued to me. Song does a really good job of that. Boom, staying here like this. He does a really, really good job. I'm not gonna do it now because I'm not warmed up and I don't wanna break my back, but go into this position. Song was here, boom, off to the side, but not like crazy off to the side. And Jan decided to Granby. You don't have to Granby. They Granby, you'll show it in the video. They Granby, Song stays on top. The thing I'll say about that, guys, is if you're gonna Granby, you need the attacker to do something first. So if I'm with Elias, yeah, and I'm back here and Elias goes to Granby, he's gonna feel stupid, okay? Or I'll be able to just like stay on his body. If I'm like this, like way leaning him forward, which guys will do because I want his weight on his arms. When I'm way like this, now is the time where if Elias Granby's, boom, I'm probably gonna cut that, or else I'm gonna spike myself on my head, or it's gonna be sudden and rapid enough to where I'll probably have to let go of my hands, which is what a Granby really does, is it'll get you away, but what it does more than anything is it makes it so I have to let go. And then when I let go, boom, I can get my guard and elbows and hands back in so that they don't, so that it's just not a pain in the ass of them grabbing their hands. The other thing that he does well is when Jan does stand up and we're here like this, all is kind of lost here. Like when they stand up, if I'm using an S grip, like biting and trying to mat return is really hard. I can get to here and start to do stuff, but I have to change my grip and that gives him an opportunity to strip my grip. When he's like this, he just switches, let's go this way. He just switches to this head outside shot, boom, and then finishes this here. That was super sick, okay? A really good move. Again, he just kind of stayed on this body lock here behind. They were on the ground, but it's okay. he was just staying on the body lock. When he was ready, he hit him a couple times. Jan got away, but he scored his like 3 or 4 like FU punches from that position, which was really, really good.
All right, let's pick back up at round 2. Right in the beginning, I think that this is 110% what Song needs to do to O'Malley. He needs to back him up. He needs to shoot well-timed shots, and he needs to defend the strikes and just like be a bully and make it a little bit ugly and get a little bit uncomfortable. Right now, Song, to me, he fights in a really comfortable way, keeps his hands by his face. He kind of does it at his own pace, covers himself really well, jets out really well, but he doesn't really like go for it forward, which is hard to do if you don't practice your footwork a lot, but maybe Song added that in. Here in round 2, we see Song shoots a really good head outside shot. This is the most committed shot that we see him take that isn't just feints. So this is really important. A head outside shot gave O'Malley some really big issues in that Merab fight, so this is going to be important. This one I really want to talk about in the gym, so let's go talk about that, the head outside shot, and just how I think it can help a lot of you guys and that are aspiring to be fighters and want to learn how to wrestle and shoot safely and not get knocked out and your jaw broken by knees.
All right, the last thing that we see in this fight against Jan, guys, is that Song obviously knows how to shoot really good head outside shots. He even finishes it super good too. Jan threw a punch or something. Song just shot really quickly down. It was more of a reactive shot. A reactive shot is when they do something and I go, opposed to me doing something and then shooting. Jan goes to throw or takes a step at him. He grabs, boom, sits him really quick, and then puts him to his butt. This is a really good idea for you MMA fighters, and I want you guys to like write this shit down. This is why Merab does it, this is why Umar does it, this is why all of the really good guys shoot like this in the smaller weight classes. It's not the tightest shot. Like, it's not like I'm driving through on a double and I'm probably not gonna land in the best spot. But when I'm like this and I just stick my head to the outside, I'm pretty safe from a lot of stuff. If I shoot like head outside shot, but like a double, I'm kind of leaving a lot of my body to where if he knees me or like uppercuts, it sucks. When I put my head and I'm shooting a head outside shot, boom, my head can be really hidden from all things, more or less, boom, to where when I shoot, if Elias goes to knee me, it's like not as scary. If he uppercuts me, that's like still for real too, but I'm a little bit more twisted versus shooting with my body a little bit more square, which I really don't like to do if I don't have to. But again, like, you'll finish really strong in their hips. But Song does a good job. Boom, Jan punches at him, he grabs, he sits him, boom, and then that's it. That's important to note. Song added that. He'll probably try to use that against O'Malley, which is, O'Malley had a lot of issues dealing with that head outside shot against Merab. Shit, I did too. But that's really important that Song added that in, because if he doesn't use that, it's probably going to be a way tougher fight than what he needs it to be. So let's crack back into the video.
So the takeaways from this fight, you know, the rest of the fight is awesome. Jan doesn't fight anything like O'Malley, so it's kind of hard to take this away from him. But we do see Song feinting at the legs a lot. We see that he definitely has really good wrestling, which is important. And yeah, I'm really curious to see if he'll use it or not. Cool, guys. So my overall thoughts about this one is it's really hard for me after watching both of their fights for me to imagine O'Malley losing unless Song shoots. We went over it already. O'Malley will not lose from the outside. Like, this dude is a killer with his footwork, moving left, right, long punches, long stabs, long side kicks, little point scores, and then like big, heavy, devastating shots. When you take a step in, he'll throw that like that fadeaway cross or that step back cross, which is super good. Song has definitely damn, that's a hard sentence to say. Song has definitely shown a lot of improvements as well in his wrestling. We see that he's not just like some scrub that doesn't know what he's doing in wrestling. He's like obviously working with a really good team at Alpha Male and has some super sick wrestling. Will he use it or not? I think so, but I mean, even in the Jan fight, he got 2 takedowns, but one of them was off of a low kick. The other one was an actual committed shot. I don't know if he'll kind of spam a little bit more takedowns or what, but I think that he kind of needs to, because if this one stays on the outside, I think that O'Malley's going to win by a pretty large margin, again, just based off of what I see, and Song just not being someone that can get super close to someone. That's pretty much my synopsis on the fight, guys. You know,
It's really hard to see Song winning unless he wrestles and puts O'Malley in a spot where he needs to start coming and get some, because Song will capitalize on mistakes incredibly well, but he does have issues making things happen. One way to do that is by level changes and taking some shots. So I hope that he does that in this fight in order to bag this win. Or if O'Malley wins, doesn't really matter to me either. It's not like I'm rooting for either one of these guys anyways. I'm kind of just sad that I'm watching all of the contender fights from the bench anyways. So again, guys, make sure that you guys like and subscribe and comment. These videos kind of take a long time. I hope that they're super informative. I hope that you guys learned a bunch of stuff from this video. I wanted to shove as much information into these videos as I could. It took a lot of effort. So again, make sure that you guys like, subscribe, comment. Either way, I love you guys. Peace.